penchant for something or someone that makes my world turn upside down. Wanna give it up for something or someone that's better than this. So don't be too offended, I had to leave. There's nothing in for me, no, I'm not fitting in. I'll pack my things to go. Am I being naive? But it's my choice to make. It's my new rebellious way. Choice to make, it's my new rebellious way.
Hello, everyone. How is everybody this Tuesday? Hope everyone is doing well. I almost didn't do a podcast today, but I thought, you know what, let me just come on. Quite a lot's been happening, and I did feel a lot better today, so I'm going to make it a short one. But I managed to muster up some energy to come onto the podcast today. It was a very, very tiresome week, the Invictus week. I don't think I realized how much it took out of me. But I'm feeling a lot better today. So thank you for all of your well wishes. And yes, I still don't. You all keep talking about this Tina Brown lady. I don't know who this is. And I haven't even bothered to Google her because I'm assuming she's some kind of troll. Yeah, Verda, I'm with you as well. I have no idea who she is. Hello, everyone, for joining us. Hello, Bonnie. Hello, Fortune. Carol, hi. Yeah, Emma, after Invictus, I just thought, you know what? They're going to be quiet and not try to embarrass themselves, but we were wrong. Oh, okay, 25 years as editor to major publications. This is Tina Brown. If I mention the names, YouTube will censor. She also hang out with Harvey Weinstein. Okay, why am I not surprised? Hello, Anna. Prez for Mrs. S. I believe that she had her, was it heart surgery today? A prayers for her, please. Hello, Marcy. Carol, Fancy, Bonnie. Thank you so much, Marcy Foreman, for the super sticker. Much appreciated, darling. Happy Tuesday to you. Hello, Dara. Hi, Kim, Sylvia, Bonnie dancing away there. Hello, Patricia, Paulina, Marilyn. Lovely to be here with you too. Audrey, hi. Dolores, hi. Kathy G, Judith, nice to see you. Thank you for giving me more views. Thank you for joining us, and I will now delete you, but thank you for the views. London lady, hi. Hi, Mrs. P. Thank you so much. Karen, hi. Don't forget to thumbs up, everyone. I think almost everyone is here except for Lydia, but I didn't exactly schedule this in advance, so maybe she hasn't seen it or she's just busy this afternoon. But welcome, everybody. Hi, Pelena, and we will get started. So, we'll start with the positive stuff before we move on to the tea. And let's see. Yes, so Harry did a podcast, Masters of Scale. This is actually quite a big podcast with Reid Hoffman. He interviews a lot of top tastemakers, innovators, celebrities, personalities, and people in business. So um Alexi, is it Robichaud, who also works for Better Up. He actually speaks for the majority of the podcast, but Harry speaks mostly at the beginning, and he talks about he talks about the way we talk about PTSD and recovery, and how we need to be a little bit more careful about language, because the way in which we talk about it could actually put people off from getting help. And one of the things I loved about Harry's speech, his closing speech at Invictus, was when he said, instead of using the phrase post traumatic trauma, he used the words post traumatic growth. And I just thought that was so powerful. And that has not left my mind since he said that, because there can be so much there is so much space for growth after you've been through trauma. So it really just shows the power of language, like when you use a different word and you switch it around. And yeah, I think it shows so much growth on Harry's part in the way he speaks and he delivers his speeches. Something that I think he's always been relatively good at, but I think it's fair to say that he's getting better at since he met Megan, because Megan is a star speech giver. So I did put I believe I did post in the community tab. If I didn't, I'll post it after the show. But go give it a listen. It's a very positive and uplifting podcast. So there was that. Also, shout out to the squaddies who have been recreating Megan's looks. There was a really cute jumper from Mango, which was like a dupe of Megan's Chanel jacket, and quite a few people went out and bought it and were making Megan inspired looks. So love to see it. Megan effect is real. Also, so the German team cycled all the way from The Hague and bought the flag to Dusseldorf. And they brought the Invictus flag to Dusseldorf, and they raised it in Dusseldorf, which is of course going to be the host city in 2023. So congratulations to the German team for cycling and bringing the flag, and we do look forward to Dusseldorf. What an amazing journey to cycle that long. Also, some congratulations are in order for Omid, who is now working with Yahoo News. He still has his column with Harper's Bazaar, but he also has an exclusive royal column for Yahoo News also. And just shows what good can come to you if you stay on the right side of history. In his first article, he talks about Prince Harry's comments regarding the Queen and ensuring that she has the best people around her. And he does bring up the topic of Angela Kelly, who was the Queen's right-hand woman, who multiple sources, according to him, told him it was almost impossible for Meghan to have a necessary hair trial with her chosen wedding tiara, even standing up the Duchess to be and her hairstylist who had flown, especially at a pre-scheduled fitting, Harry sources said, felt it was a cruel attempt to put his partner in her place. And there was that alleged rumor that went around that both Angela Kelly and possibly Kate had ganged up to ensure that Meghan did not get the tiara that she wanted and was not able to wear tiaras pretty much ever again after her wedding. And Omid's article then goes on to say, time and time again, we hear how inside the institution of the monarchy is an environment where mental health and well-being is not prioritized, a place where, regardless of your status, the needs of the crown will always come ahead of the personal needs of the individual family members. It is an institution Harry feels failed in its duty to protect him and his brood, and I'm sure also his mother. And it's interesting. You will hear royal rota rats brag, and even former staff brag that the crown is ruthless and the crown will make sure that it does anything to um stay in power. And they basically tell on themselves by saying these things, and yet somehow we're meant to be outraged at the idea of Harry wanting to protect his grandmother. Because if the crown is going to do anything to protect itself, well, doesn't wouldn't that also include possibly throwing the monarch herself under the bus? Anyway, the article goes on to say, having bravely faced a series of health and mobility issues, we often hear how the 96-year-old monarch is impressively getting on with her duties, but as a grandson and sixth in line to the throne, it would only be natural for Harry to question whether every person on her daily orbit has her best interests at heart. Is she being pushed too much? Is anyone telling her to slow down? Is there too much pressure to be at the Platinum Jubilee events this June? Is she being properly taken care of? These are the kinds of questions any caring person would ask an elderly family member living alone or in a facility run by staff, indeed. And when you look at the famously unsympathetic institution the Queen lives within, Harry has every reason to worry. And of course, Buckingham Palace declined to comment. And it's an institution that she has spearheaded and hasn't bothered to try to change. And unfortunately, she could be falling victim to the same coldness of that institution. So, go to your comments. Hi, Carmen. Never late, darling. Let's see. Hi, Dilly. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, everyone, if you joined us. Please do thumbs up. Okay, so that was that. I think that's most of the positive stuff. Let's get on to the the drama and the dust. Thomas Markle has decided to pop his head out from under the rock that he was living in and continue to be the worst father ever. Father of the year for maybe 4 years running now, and he's now worst father of the year for 2022. He appeared on GB News with Dan Wooten, I believe it was, and he is now he's now vowing to appear at the Jubbly. I feel absolutely awful for Meghan that she has to shout out to whoever it was, by the way, who photoshopped this picture of Mr. Markle on the balcony. As much as I feel awful for Meghan about this, that she has to continue to put up with her father bullying her in the press, um, this just continues to make the institution look bad. And it's gotten to the point now where I think even the British press are so desperate for any type of headline story that it would appear that they are now feeding um, Thomas Markle. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Daily Mail itself, despite the fact that they work with the royals, because we know that they're a triple-headed snake. We're on one hand working with the royals, and on the other working with Thomas Markle to try and get him to the UK. Because let's not forget, they wanted him and Meghan in the UK for a show trial that never happened. So the next best thing is to get Thomas Markle on the plane in the UK and to have him making an absolute fool of himself. However, there were quite a number of people, even people who follow GB News and Dan Wooten, who were having a go at Dan Wooten and letting Dan Wooten know just how ridiculous he is. I'd like to know how it is that they're able to listen to Dan Wooten every single day and not see that he's ridiculous every single day. But obviously, this situation with Thomas Markle is what's really ticked them off. One of them saying, Dan, seriously, you've lowered yourself to report on Thomas Markle. Isn't Dan Wooten just low every single day? But anyway, coming to the UK for the Platinum Jubilee this year should be about the amazing life and work of the Queen, not some insignificant relative of an insignificant ex-royal. Well, she's so insignificant that the British tabloids can't stop talking about her. Somebody saying that no news here and nothing shocking. Thomas said this weeks ago on his YouTube channel, I'm starting to lose respect for Dan Wooten. He's starting to be all about the drama. Sir, the fact that you ever had respect for Dan Wooten says something about you. But that is that. And also, Piss Moron started his new show, and you know that on this channel, the only time I ever mention Piss Moron is to make fun of him. I don't mention him any other time, and I will not be reporting on his stupid show. And so I only bring him up to say that his show so far is proven to be somewhat of a flop, especially in comparison to the numbers that Harry and Meghan pulled in for their first tour. For the African journey, we're looking at in the millions here. And also even Meghan's online show with Emily Ramshaw for the 19th. That pulled in, I mean, just you're talking 267, but that was for a brand new platform that nobody had really ever heard before online on YouTube. And Piss Moron, with all of the marketing push, with the Murdoch machine behind him, only managed to pull in just over 300,000 for his show. So once again, like everyone else and everything else who wants to come after Meghan, flopping. And if those are his entry numbers, I can only imagine that his viewership is going to go further and further and further down. He has to rely on Meghan's name and shock value and outrage at this point to stay relevant. And if that's all you have, you're going to lose steam very quickly. Go to your comments. Thank you so much, Sonia Johnson, for the super sticker. Much appreciated, darling. Joyce, Meghan and Harry can handle themselves with Thomas. I believe she has made peace with it. But you see your father make a fool of himself. It's sad. It is indeed sad. They're using him and to bully her. Also, I did not talk about the Screaming Oranges comments about Harry because I just didn't want to give it any energy. It's the same old nonsense that they've been talking about. Meghan basically puppeteering Harry, that same narrative. But today, Trump once again getting his karma. He's been held in contempt of court for failing to turn over materials sought by Letitia James, the New York Attorney General. He will be fined $10,000 per day until he cooperates. So there you go. Come for Harry and Meghan, karma will come for you. Hey, Sonia. Okay, we'll see you with the replay, gang, hun. Have fun at work. Do they really think Thomas the clown at the Jubilee would embarrass Meghan? What a joke. Exactly. This is not going to embarrass Meghan. Thomas Markle could not embarrass Meghan any more than he already has. This is going to embarrass the royals. You know how much I'd laugh if like Thomas Markle shows up, Samantha Markle shows up. Oh, and speaking of the silly half sister, her lawyer has dropped her. She has withdrawn her legal representation, citing irreconcilable differences and fundamental disagreements. Per court documents, Samantha does not have a new lawyer. Well, she's going to have to represent herself because I really don't know what lawyer would risk their career for such a ridiculous court case that has no grounds whatsoever. And she was only asking for what? 75,000 pounds? Sorry, dollars? What is that? No lawyer is going to take that seriously. And then you have Ellie Hall, the desperate one from BuzzFeed, talking about how she's going to attempt to reach out to Samantha. Still chasing a non-story. This is the woman, by the way, who was trying to dig around as to whether or not Meghan had a surrogate. The desperation. Joe to say, well, the frowny old man said the royal family owes him. So he's going to enjoy his royal fame that the daughter who he helped attack her at all costs. Yeah, there's definitely something shady still, I feel, to be uncovered about Thomas Markle and the royal family. Um, Thomas Markle, I think, just needs to be very, very careful. He needs to be very, very careful. Um, if he is seen as too much of a loose cannon, he can be easily dealt with. And we know how the royals like to play when they want to deal with people. Haggy, I don't know what any child would have to do to deserve such a horrible father. I tried to run scenarios of reconciliation in my head, but with who and what he is, I don't see it. Yeah, Meghan and Harry must run. Yeah, because I don't, I don't know if he ever saw Meghan as a daughter rather than a project. Because the way he talks is like she owes him something. It's like he wants Meghan the Duchess, not Meghan his daughter. Now, Bonnie, Meghan needs a restraining order against her father if she doesn't already have one. Well, I don't actually think that he's ever going to be stupid enough to physically attempt to get near her. But he's using every platform and means at a distance to bother her and bully her. And I'm sure he's being paid a hefty sum for it. Joyce Dan Wooten and Thomas Markle were in it with Jason Kay. The father said that Jason Kay was his contact, so it doesn't surprise me. Indeed. And we know that Dan Wooten and Jason Kay are linked. Um, Jason obviously leaking stories from inside the house to Dan Wooten. Hi, stunning. Oh, Dauphin. Glad you caught the live too. Welcome. Wendy, thank you for not talking about that Val Morgan. No, I will talk about him when we can laugh about him. That's when I'll talk about him. I won't talk about him any other time. Like, literally, when's the last time I talked about Piss Moron? It must have been like 15, 20 videos ago. Let's see, this is the worst news I've heard all year. But Thomas could go to the Jubilee without an invite. Um, well, I don't know if it's the worst news. Part of me just wants the Unroyal Mafia to be humiliated at this point. Yes, Boney, Piss Moron show is nothing without the mention of Megan. Because what else are people going to watch him for? And it's so bad that Scammy's attorney quit. I'm surprised that she even agreed to represent her in the first place. She should have known it was a non-case from day one. Like, how has it even taken her this long to quit? Okay, so that is that. Go on to the next thing. Yeah, but if Thomas is gonna come, then they must invite Uncle Gary, Kate's Uncle Gary. I'm sure him and Thomas will have a lot to talk about, that they have a lot in common. So they need to make sure that they send an invite for Uncle Gary also. Then we can have the Duke of Mexico, which is going to be Thomas Markle's new title, with the Duke Nonstru, and also Dirty Gary. What would be called Dirty Uncle Gary? The Dirty Duke? Yeah. So that is that. This was an article that came out last Friday, and I thought it was quite interesting, especially if we're looking at the situation with Harry's security. The number of crimes that were reported at the royal palaces, with hundreds apparently going unpunished. So this is a Sky News report that said that a total of 470 crimes were recorded at Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, St James's Palace, and Clarence House. So these are all of the main palace residences where the royals live, either inside or immediately outside the grounds between 2019 and 2021, the Metropolitan Police reveals. Di Davis, a former head of royal protection at Scotland Yard, said the number of crimes was astonishing and frightening. The former chief superintendent told Sky News, "If you can still or cause incidences at or near the royals, what does it say about the current security?" Okay, I find it interesting that this article would come out at now, because they've obviously, if they've been recording these incidences between 2019 and 2021, why wasn't this bigger headline in news before? It's just, to me, it's just a bit suspicious that this would come out at a time when we are talking about Harry's security. But anyway, it continues. They included hundreds of thefts along with reports of arson and criminal damage, burglary, robbery, possession of weapons, and violence against the person's offences. Less than 1% of the crimes resulted in someone being charged, cautioned, or fined, and no suspect were identified in more than 400 offences. How is that? What's going on with the security if you can have no suspect identified in 400 offences? And then there was that whole hoo-ha about the so-called Windsor intruder, and then you literally never heard anything about it afterwards. Anyway, the article goes on. According to data released under the Freedom of Information Act, no suspect was identified in 404 offences, while 34 crimes had evidential difficulties and 5 cases were deemed not in the public interest. 5 cases were deemed not in the public interest. I think that if there is an issue with security going on with the royals, that is definitely in the public interest. The article continues. 16 crimes were dealt with by community resolutions, which were used for low-level offences and can include a simple apology, an offer of compensation, or a promise to clear up criminal damage. Buckingham Palace worker was jailed for thefts. Last year, a member of catering staff at Buckingham Palace was jailed after stealing medals and official photos of the royal family from the Queen's residence. Oh my goodness. If someone within the palace can do that, and bearing in mind, you go through incredibly rigorous checks before you work in the royal household, there's definitely something going on with a lack of diligent security in the palaces, which is quite worrying. Let's see. Joyce, Thomas Markle will not get anywhere near Harry and Meghan or the royal family. If the royal family takes them serious, we will know for sure where it. Oh, we're in it with they. Oh, they were in it with Thomas Markle. Indeed, I believe they were 100%. I believe they were. If the press think, sorry, I think the press is trying to get Thomas Markle and Meghan in the same place for confrontation. They never mentioned Dora's side of the family, nor the reporters. People should look at that. Indeed. And Dora's side of the family never make it a point to mention themselves or grab attention. Cookies and cream, that video of Thomas Markle saying that he was trying to stop the wedding should trend on social media, especially on Twitter. Well, I think it was around the time that it initially came out, and squaddies share it all the time. Oh, plenty. Going to your granddaughter's school play. Enjoy. Yeah, Thomas Markle and Uncle Gary, the Duke of Mexico, and the Dirty Duke with the Nonce Duke. Yeah, Miss P talks. What circus are all dropping up? And yet somehow it's Harry and Meghan that are going to distract from the Jubbly when the British press are turning it into a circus themselves. Mhm. Boney, Mighty, they don't realize that they are the one bringing down the royal family with Thomas Markle and Gigi, and them blaming it on Meghan of a drop of black blood. Indeed. It's only Meghan's fault, apparently. Nobody else's. Yes, Joan, all of this, yet they are harassing Harry about his security concerns. They know what the security risks are, and this just adds to the case. Okay, so that's that. Just so Edward and Sophie continued on their tour, and have managed to continue where William and Catherine left in humiliating themselves and the country. So they went to a meeting with the Antigua Prime Minister, and one of the things that he said, well, he said two things that were quite offensive. He said that he regretted that it was Prince Charles that got to meet the disaster-struck residents of Barbuda and not him. So I'm sorry that somebody else got to go to the disaster zone and I didn't. Instead of, oh, I don't know. I'm sorry we couldn't helped more. I'm sorry we won't. I'm sorry we'll provide more aid next time. It's just like, I'm so sorry that I didn't get to go. He then went on to laugh when the Antigua Prime Minister said that Edward didn't acknowledge or address the issue of slavery reparations. Edward then said that he was not keeping notes and is not going to give him a complete response. And if you look at the body language, I mean, between the two of them, you've got Edward, who looks like he's laughing, Sophie, who looks like she's chuckling and like just taking the whole thing as a joke, and the body language of the Antigua PM and his representative just obviously not looking very impressed. Oi. Yes, Church Honey, thank you so much for reminding us. Prayers, healing, and love for fellow squaddy Mrs. S. She had her heart surgery this morning. Thank you so much for reminding us. Thank you so much, everyone, for your prayers. London lady, tell me more about Uncle Gary. I don't know him. You don't really want to know him, London lady. He's just Kate Middleton's dirty uncle. Just Google him. He has a really strange history. I think he was charged at one point for domestic violence or some kind of domestic dispute. And he's been involved with other dodgy dealings. Was trying to use his family's royal connections to make money. Cookies and cream, the honourable family is behind this craziness with the Markles. Why the racist British press never interview Thomas about his white children? They only go after the biracial child. Indeed. They never, I don't think they actually ever ask him about Samantha. I've never heard him talk about Samantha, which is so weird. Um, and then also, they never ask him about, for example, the fact that Samantha's own daughter said that she didn't like him. Sorry, she doesn't like her. That's a very good point. Yes, Joyce, this 70-year jubilee is turning out to be something else. The tours are failing. We're losing Commonwealth countries. Nick Ferrari of LBC had Scamantha on recently, and other propaganda smears. News machine, GB News having him on is no surprise. The unknown dominating the ultimate headlines that outshine Meghan. Well, I think we always have to remember with these things, whenever they wheel out Thomas Markle or Samantha, it's because they don't have access to Harry and Meghan. You know, the people getting the access are people like Omid, you know? So remember that also irks them. Rahini, who in God's name is Uncle Gary? Just Google him. Just Google him. It will explain everything. And Miss Peter, Harry and Dr. Meghan won't be attending that Jubbly. Prince Harry does not have security and he won't be bringing his family to this nonsense. That's why he visited his grandmother. So I have on my bingo card that they will appear via some kind of pre-recorded message video. That's what I think is going to happen. But I agree with you that I don't think that they will be there physically. I don't think so anyway. We could be surprised. Because up until at least his Today Show interview, it seemed like he was still trying to get security to go. Like, hey, it would have been better for them to tour the UK instead of the Caribbean. Well, Kate and William went to Scotland. They weren't welcome. They've been to Ireland twice in the last 2 years, I think. They also went to Wales where they weren't welcome because that was at the height of the pandemic. And they pretty much do appearances all over England most days of the week. So what tour of the UK were they going to do really? And the other members of the royal family tour around the UK also. So they need to tour the other countries because they need to hang on to the Commonwealth. Yes, Tampon Charles and Camilla are going to Canada. That should be interesting. Julia, Chuck bringing his horse our way. Have fun. Yeah, Sharpie, they went there with nothing to offer. And animals can feel a person's spirit. And this parrot over here, he wasn't having it with Sophie. He said, "Not today. No, no, no." April, May. If Thomas Turd can go to the Jubbly to try and um see Megan, why didn't he go to the Invictus location? He probably would have been arrested. There was so much tight security in the Netherlands. I didn't show the video, but Harry and Meghan had a motorcade. So I think you knew better. Because for that week, The Hague was Harry and Meghan's as far as security and, you know, knowing their surroundings and knowing who's around. So he was pretty much outnumbered if he went to The Hague. Whereas if he is working with the royals or anybody in the British press, um, he'll have a much easier time, I think, coming to the UK if he does. Marilyn, why isn't the British media talking about Pippa's father-in-law being investigated for R? Isn't that an old case that was thrown out? I think I know what you're talking about, but is this something has that resurfaced? Because I thought that case was shut down some time ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I thought. JK, the Caribbean countries just wish not to have the royal family as head of state. They never said anything about leaving the Commonwealth. There's a huge difference there. Um, I think some of them do want, or there is some sentiment of from some people that they also want to leave the Commonwealth. Because to me, like I feel like if you're only going to remove the Queen as the head of state, you're only doing half the job. I say, tear yourself away from the clutches of empire completely. To me, there's literally no point. If you're not going to leave the Commonwealth, to me, there's no point of trying to remove the Queen as the head of state. To me, it's all or nothing, really. Because how are these countries even benefiting from the Commonwealth? Masha, I don't believe Harry and Meghan will go for the Jubbly in any way or manner. Well, it's left to be. It's not too long now. It's left to be seen. Don't actually have too long to wait. Angela, Lily's B-Day is the same time as the Jubbly. The only way I see them coming is for Lily's christening. Perhaps we could be shocked. I feel like we're going to be shocked, but we haven't got too long to wait. Reba, personally, I hope Meghan and Harry do not go to the Jubilee. Meghan will see is that Thomas Markle again after the way he has disgraced himself, and he and Scammy better pray Doria Raglan does not expose them. No, Doria's kept a very dignified silence so far, and I think she will continue to. Joan, there was a parrot from Guyana that had cursed everyone at an event in Britain years ago. The workmen felt what? There was a parrot that cursed people? Really? Well, I'm telling you, animals can sense frequencies. And they know that there is a very devilish frequency there. As a Jamaican, there has been no talk in Congo, but we do not wish to have a HOS that do nothing for us. We are independent, but not self-governing. Okay. Well, my question to you then is, what do you actually feel that? What do you actually feel? Actually, sorry. How do you feel the Commonwealth benefits Jamaica or anyone? Van Joseph, so glad my little island Grenada didn't welcome them. Good for you. You're never late, Roseanne. Okay, so that was that. What else did I want to mention? Oh yes, the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Sean Richards, has indicated a desire to see the country remove the British monarchy as head of state and become a republic. The advancement of decades has taught us that the time has for St. Kitts and Nevis to review its monarchical system of government and to begin the dialogue to advance to a new status, just as Trinidad, Guyana, Dominica, and now Barbados have done, he told a press conference on Tuesday. However, this will not be pursued along partisan lines. All political parties, along with civil society and the youth, will have an opportunity to guide the way forward, the Deputy PM said. So, more countries leading the way to independence. Miss P talks, I don't think they are coming. There is too much circus after Prince Harry interview. I'm sure he knows the danger of bringing his family here. Indeed. I think he does. And I don't think he's not going to risk it for an overpriced party that, quite frankly, looks very tone deaf in the face of poverty. I mean, look at this. You have the Queen's corgis being fed steak on silver platters by a butler, a royal animal psychologist reveals. So apparently now we've got psychologists specifically for royal animals. Meanwhile, starving 8-year-old forced to steal tomato sauce sachets to make soup because he was so hungry. We have normalized food banks in this country. I think there's something close to like 2,000 food banks, and they're still going ahead with this overpriced party. For what? And more than anything, that's the reason why I hope Harry and Meghan don't show up. Because how can you have a situation where people are choosing between heating and food and you're spending millions on the Jubbly? Legs, all these photo ops and all the British media can talk about is Netflix with Harry and Meghan. Netflix chill and Harry and Meghan. Yeah, well, it's the only thing that makes them money. We know that by now. Miss P talks as a Jamaican. I'll say Jamaican is not benefiting. All they are doing is taking their money. Exactly. That's why I'm saying, like, what's the point of just removing the Queen as the head of state? Just get rid of the whole Commonwealth and remove yourself from the Commonwealth also. Under the Commonwealth banner, you have some protection from being taken over, like Ukraine. Well, then I would argue that those countries should build their own militaries or ask for military assistance from other countries. You can ask for military assistance without having another country have their head of state as yours or being part of a system that just does not benefit you. Let's get through your comments. JK, being part of the Commonwealth offers benefits of trade, free flow travel. Well, that's not true because a lot of the Caribbean countries, you still have to get a visa to come to the UK. You can also have a say in the UK if you live there as part of the Commonwealth, you can vote. Well, they're deporting Jamaicans, so I mean, they say benefits of trade, but who's benefiting from that trade? Is that trade fair? Like, I want to see the actual trade deals because how much are those countries actually benefiting from trade? And we know that there are Commonwealth countries that you still need a visa to come to the UK or other parts of yeah, you still need a visa to come to the UK. So I just don't see what the benefits are at this point. Okay, let's wrap this up. What else did I want to mention? Yeah, there's a lot of this hoo-ha going on Twitter. To be honest with you, I don't feel super strongly about the whole Elon Musk thing. He's just um an oligarch with too much wealth and too much power. I don't understand the fanboying over this individual. And I honestly think that the Elon Musk fanboys are going to be sorely disappointed. I thought this tweet by Occupy Alternative Rock just summed it up perfectly. Elon Musk is an inventor. He invented a new definition of the word inventor, which is a guy that buys things and that says that he invented them. And most people who know the history of Tesla, um, you know, knows the extent to which Elon Musk basically just took over that company. You could make some argument that he was maybe an innovator, but I wouldn't class him as an inventor. And the idea of him spending 43 billion, you know, on Twitter, the amount of other things that money could have been spent for. And for me, I only got onto Twitter really because of the Sussex Squad. Like, there was no other reason for me to jump on Twitter. I had left years ago. So if certain people start getting censored, or certain dangerous people start getting emboldened as a result of Elon Musk buying Twitter, then I guess yes, in terms of freedom of speech, um, or people abusing freedom of speech to bully others, both of those things, that's worrying. But do I feel very strongly about this? No. Am I going to leave Twitter because Elon Musk has bought it? No. You can still find me there. But that was that. And the only other thing that I wanted to mention, because I only brought that up because I know that a lot of squaddies were saying that they were going to leave Twitter. But I won't, because I just don't feel that strongly about it. Any other thing that I want to mention was that unfortunately, the Daily Fail have begun the generational tradition of bullying royal children. And I've always said, when it comes to this matter, keep the children need to be kept out of it. And the children should not be used by their parents as shields or for PR. And this, this headline from the Daily Mail: his classmates don't recognize the future king or understand his status. Well, he's a kid. He needs to be able to be a kid. And headlines like this, I think, are what contribute to royal children having, you know, issues during their formative years. And as far as I'm concerned, things like this um are just not acceptable. The kids need to be kept out of it. I think this is very damaging for the royal children. And it's just a continuation of this abusive cycle that, thank goodness, Harry broke for his own children. But unfortunately, the Cambridge kids, I think, um, are going to be sucked into this abusive vortex. And their parents don't seem to want to protect them, much like the way Charles used William and Harry. Unfortunately, I think that William and Kate are going to use their own children. So I always say that the children are innocent in all of this. I hope that the Cambridge children can grow up to find their own freedom, the same type of freedom that their cousins have. But I'm most definitely going to continue to call out both the British press and the Cambridges as parents for subjecting their children to this, because it's just not fair. Um, we can't have another generation of royal children being used like this. So that's all I had to say about that. I will go through your comments and then we will call it a day. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and your super stickers, as always. And thank you, moderators. And the royals don't like the Markles. They will never be on no balcony. I don't know. You could have Thomas climbing up on a rope for all we know. I mean, we'll definitely be talking about it, that's for sure. Janice stealing from the Queen's residence, who is looking after her. It's no wonder Harry is concerned. Indeed. And they've been breaking into the palace before. So it's quite worrying. Yes, classy. Most Caribbean islands have to get a visa to go to the UK. None of the Caribbean countries benefit anything from the UK, only the islands that are not independent. Indeed. And there's no reason why any of these countries can't broker independent deals with other countries. I mean, that's part of diplomacy. They don't have to be part of the Commonwealth to get protections specifically from the UK. There's 196 countries in the world. And perhaps if they weren't part of the Commonwealth, they could forge better relationships with other countries. There's Charles in the damn comments pretending to be squaddies. Don't worry about it. I welcome all trolls. Please do increase my views. It's highly appreciated. I love that you're here. You're 100% welcome. Just sit there silently and increase my views. Thank you very, very much. But as soon as you comment, we will delete you and kick you out. Yes, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you, as always, Lucy Wynn. Thank you, everyone, for joining the podcast. Margaret, the countries of the Caribbean need to do what the European nations did, creating the EU. Then economically and even militarily, they can support each other. Exactly. Exactly, Margaret Jones. Thank you. You win comment of the day. Kittens, I left Twitter decades ago and will never join again. Even deleted the app from my phone. Yeah, it is a very toxic place. I'm not gonna lie. And they've got all this new weird stuff going on where you see things that other people like. And it's like I don't want to see that. I don't even know how to get rid of that because some of the things that other people that I follow like, I'm just like, I don't want to see this. Like it like I do honestly think Twitter is just a it's a dump site. I go there really just to find news and just to keep up with news. And I enjoy following like other squaddies, but otherwise I find it very toxic. Treya, I'm tired about hearing about this Jubilee. I'm so happy when it comes and goes its merry way. Well, they're gonna have the Jubilee and then the Jubilee Memorial and then the memorial for the Jubilee Memorial. Julia, I will leave Twitter if I have to pay. Are they talking about making you pay? Oh, oh, definitely leave it if I have to pay. What would I pay for it for? It's Julia, the evolution of sickness. Yes, sure. That's why I'm so happy Archie and Lily won't have to go through this. Why do you need to know about the trial first day in school? Yeah, that should be kept private. It should never have even been printed. Reba, how is it okay for a South African Musk and an Australian Murdoch being in charge of Twitter and Fox? Look at the results for Fox. Disgusting, indeed. Sharpie, we shouldn't see the kids going to school. That should be private. Well, they've always done this with the Royals, haven't they? First day of school, first day back at term. Like it's completely and utterly unnecessary. I do think it's going to be one of those things that people look back at and go, why were we so obsessed with these children? And Marshall, the Cambridge children are already being used. George already looks very unhappy. Poor kid. I bet Louis is going to be like his Uncle Harry. I hope so. I hope they all are. Gwendolyn, some of these people coming through the chats and they're Jamaican are trolls. I think so. Okay, who's going to get the last word of the day? Patricia, I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte and Louis end up on Harry and Meghan's doorsteps one day. I wouldn't be surprised either. Um, I wouldn't also be surprised on my bingo card if Harry and Meghan haven't put some kind of provisions aside for the Cambridge children. Because if they want to leave, they're going to need help. And I'm sure Harry understands that more than anyone. But no, I think you're right, Patricia. That wouldn't surprise me at all if the Cambridge children ended up on Harry and Meghan's doorstep one day. Miss P, the Caribbean has already formed an alliance, but they are not united in mind. Well, hopefully one day they will be. Oh, Marina, Elon Musk is talking about subscriptions for Twitter. Well, do you know what? Sadly, I think a lot of people will actually pay for it, but I certainly won't. I won't hesitate to leave. Like Twitter is not that wholly important for me. In terms of social media, it's YouTube and Instagram actually. For me, it's definitely not Twitter. Okay, Wendy, I'm going to leave you with the last word of the day. Good night, everyone, and stay safe. Thank you so much for coming. Wasn't even sure that I was going to do a podcast for today, but I'm glad that I did. Always great spending time with you guys and dolls. And I will well, if there's any news, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I guess I'll see you when I see you. Thank you all so much. Bye.
I know I messed it up, but in my soul